Hello and welcome to Coconut Chats, everyone. Today you've got me, Harita, and I'm joined with Chris today. How are you, Chris?
Good evening, Rita. I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. Today on Coconut Chats, we've got a really inspirational lady from Auckland, New Zealand. Priscilla is a digital marketer turned stay-at-home mum who has recently launched Hire Her, which is a freelance platform for women in New Zealand and Australia. Since the launch of Hire Her 6 months ago, more than 400 women have signed up to it, and in turn, it's generated over $40,000 of business. Her mission is to connect businesses with the best female talent and to make an impact by contributing to nonprofits, which also support women. So without further ado, hi Priscilla, how are you?
Hi Harita, hi Chris. Thank you so much for having me. I'm good, thank you.
So for me, it's really exciting to see another fellow New Zealand born Indian or, New Zealand raised Indian starting a passion project, because it hits so much closer to home when like someone similar to me in so many ways does this. So I guess my first question for you is, what's inspired you to think of Hire Her and to create the website the way that you did?
Yeah, thank you so much, Harita. That means a lot. So the journey kind of began, prior to me becoming a mum, I had like a career in corporate marketing, and then I popped that career on hold to then have my kids. And so then, I thought to myself, okay, so how do you sort of balance, being a mother and raising children? And I wanted to go back into the workforce, but I couldn't actually find work that would accommodate the kind of hours I was looking for. I didn't want to do the 9 to 5, like I was looking for flexibility. And then I sort of started to look into the world of contracting and freelancing. And a lot of mums I saw were doing this because it just enabled them to choose the hours that they wanted to work, and they could choose the projects that they wanted to do as well. And then I kind of started to dive deeper. So I was like, okay, cool. Like this is a new world. It's growing because of remote-based working becoming a lot more acceptable, which is like the pandemic kind of drove that. But then the pandemic did something else, which was last year, like we had in New Zealand, there was over 11,000 job losses, and 10,000 of those were women. And this is like also globally, like a lot of women lost jobs last year. So what that made women do is then go and actually start their own business. Like we had an increase of over 13% women led businesses last year that were formed. And so I started to see this whole thing, like when you start a business and you're running it, right, you kind of need help from like a perspective of like a little bit of marketing help, administration, virtual assistants. So basically they just take on work on an ad hoc basis. And I saw all these women who wanted to work with one another. So like somebody would, there's like all these Facebook groups about women in business. So they were looking for someone to maybe help them with social media, but they specifically wanted to work with women. So it was really cool. Like, I knew that women love to support and work with one another. That's when I was like, okay, cool. Maybe I need to like build something to actually facilitate this, because you can't just be posting on Facebook groups, right? Like there's no actual process or platform that's in place. So I pretty much posed a question in January this year, and I was like, what do you reckon? Like, would you want a platform to be there for women only, to basically like post jobs and work with one another and promote their services? And I had like over 300 women that said, yes, like we want this, and that's what gave me the courage to go, okay, cool, like this needs to be done. And so then, yeah, I launched it this year in May.
That's amazing. So what's the model behind the website that you've created? And I guess, now that you've had the website up and running for the better part of this year, what changes have you made to the website as the business has grown?
Yeah, well, like it's basically a like platform where either like if you are talent of any sort, so you could be an agency, contractor, freelance worker, like anything, you can use it to basically sign up and promote your services. So you say, I can offer you XYZ. I'm a coach, I'm a web designer, I'm a marketer, I'm an admin person. You promote yourself. And then you have the other component, which is the people that are looking to hire. And that could be like anybody that needs to hire someone on an hourly basis for 1 hour a week versus ongoing work. And they use the platform to basically post a job, and then they'll get a whole bunch of quotes and proposals from these women who are like, hey, great, like, actually, I can do that work for you. And this is my background and this is my expertise. And then you can use it to basically hire and manage the job and everything. So you basically facilitate the whole process through the platform, which is really cool. And yeah, I think when I launched this, so there are a lot of competitors out there globally, but my thought has been like, you need to start really small and test your idea. Like if you want to do something at a big scale level, you don't have to put hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like for me, it was like, get it out there and actually like get people to start to use it. And then the more that they use it, you can then build and get better as you learn what is important to them. And so now I've sort of seen other requirements that they need. And I guess maybe one day, long term, I would have to build from scratch. But yeah, essentially that's what it is. It's like a job platform.
That's amazing. We've done now. It's a platform for women by a woman, and I think that's something that will cause a huge amount of connectivity, because all the time we see men explaining things to us, right? This is not for you, this is for you. So it's time that we kind of tell them to stop mansplaining us. On that note, Priscilla, what type of women have you basically registered on the website so far?
Yeah, it's like honestly like so many different women, but there's like two key ones I see, and it's like either the mums who are like, you know what, I want to like work around my kids, especially when your kids are young. Like this is a problem, is that we don't actually have some employment are okay, but many of them are not. And so you have to have children, then drop them to daycare for like the whole day and then pick them up. And then you've got work pressure. Then you've got to look after your children. Like it's a lot when they're young. And so a lot of women go, actually, I'm going to take a little bit of time off. I'm going to work for myself in that time so that I can sort of balance being a mother, being a wife, and maybe making a little bit of money. So you have a lot of women who are mums. And then you've also got the millennials, like the young people who are now like, I don't need to work one job. I can work two jobs. So they do their like normal job, and then they'll run like their side hustle, and that's how they generate income as well.
Yeah, I think that's really the way the world works these days, you know, like you've got apps like, you know, Ola and Uber and things like that, which are also in a way the same type of thing. Like after I finish my normal job, if I've got spare time, I'll go and do my second job and earn a bit of extra income, especially when the cost of everything is so expensive these days, and you need that extra income to like get you by or get you on that holiday you want to go on and things like that.
Yeah.
So yes, you know, you've touched on the fact that you're married and you've got two young kids, and you know that in itself is such a busy life. So how long did it take you to develop the website while you had, you know, all these other things in life going on? And were you able to juggle developing the website with your two young daughters?
It's a lot of sacrifice and it's a lot of hard work. I can't tell you this enough. And I also think being an Indian woman, like there's this pressure of like, you know, my house still has to look like reasonably clean. You know, I still want to, like my husband's amazing. I'm not going to say anything, like I'm married to a really wonderful Indian man who understands what it means to, you know, have a nice balance at home. But as a woman, it's just natural, right? Like you're going to be the one that's like worrying about the cooking, you know, you're worrying about your, like you're thinking about your in-laws, you've got, you know, your parents, you've got your families, you've got your children. So with all of that stuff, I ended up having to work most nights, like in the evenings. So because I've had my girls at home, and so in the daytime it was really difficult. So I'd sort of start working at like 9 p.m. and I'd work till like some nights till 1 p.m., 1 a.m. Some nights like on a Saturday I'd work till like 3 in the morning. And then at that time my baby, the second one, was like 4 or 5 months old. So she would then wake up like in the middle of the night and I'd feed her and then I'd go to sleep and then I'd be up in the morning to look after my toddler and my baby. But that's the thing, like it's not, I didn't, this wasn't going to be easy. And I don't think I made it easy on myself, but I think just coming from a line of like really hardworking parents and hardworking, like, we're all immigrants, right? We've had to like build everything from scratch. It wasn't handed to us. And so having that mental mindset has been like a very big part of like what enabled me to get to this point, which has just been just grinding it, giving it my all, like believing in myself, because I knew that if I wanted to show my daughters what it meant to live a different life and a life on your terms, then I had to pave that path, because a lot of their role models aren't like that. That's just the reality. The women that are around them, they have to work super hard. They have to look after their families. They didn't get the opportunity to build a dream. They just did what they had to do to look after their family. And I've been given it, so I want to show it to my girls. But yeah, that's crazy.
I think you are one of those entrepreneurs who is leading by example. So you are just giving that example to your daughters, but also the ladies there to what does it mean to kind of make your own bread and butter. And I totally reconnect with you on the migrant part. Having been a migrant myself, I know what it means to kind of, make a place for yourself in the society. But whatever you're doing, Priscilla. So on that note, is your website meant only for New Zealanders, or can it be used globally as well?
Yeah, at the moment it's New Zealand and Australia, but long term I definitely want to build it out to be like a global thing. But because I know that women, see, the thing is it's not just the technology aspect, it's the women working with women and understanding one another. Like when you have two people that have similar values and that connect at a human level, it's not just competency, it's not just skill set. Anybody can do the job, but when you kind of get it, it's a very powerful thing. And I've noticed like mums love working with mums. They just get it, because then you don't feel guilty. If your child is like, I have so many calls where I've got my children in the background, doing this and that, because that's just the reality of my life, right? And I mean, obviously women understand it a lot better, and I don't feel guilty. I don't feel bad for like saying sorry, and then if it's a mum, they get it even more. So it's just a really nice thing. And I definitely want it to be a global thing. I just have a long way to go. I have to build it. Like, it's going to be crazy.
So I guess since it's already available in New Zealand and Australia, have you thought about what changes or features you'd have to add to the website to make it available in other countries?
Yeah, like, oh my God, I'm going to have to like build the whole thing from scratch. Like I'll probably have to, because I've self-funded all this, like my husband's helped me out in the process of it. And what I've built is like basically what they call in the tech space is a minimal viable product. And that just means the most bare minimum at a scale level to prove that your concept is something that people want. But if I have to go and build everything how I want it, the way I want it, the way that it will serve women, it has to be done completely from scratch. And I have this whole like vision of it, but in the interim my challenge is how do you serve, like, because I have so many women on the platform now, like I have over 380 plus freelancers, over 50 women who have registered as employers and hirers, and so they're constantly like posting jobs. So I've got to actually run the business of the business, make sure I'm placing the right women together, make sure that I'm promoting their businesses, I'm building a community, and I do like a lot of coaching now as well. So I help these women run their businesses just by giving them advice and knowledge. So I have to do all of that, but then I have to think about what is the future state. And that is a lot of work. And I think sometimes you just have to take it one day at a time. Like no matter how much you plan, no matter what you think you can achieve, every single day, you just have to go, what can I achieve today? What's the best I can do? How much can I give? And that's all you can do. So that's kind of how I've taken it.
When you were talking about your business model and now that you plan to take it globally, I want to draw your attention to most of Southeast Asia. Right? There's still a huge number of women are in the rural areas. They don't receive education. They don't have the rights to go to school.
Yeah.
Envisaged any way in which your platform could reach out to those rural women and give them that voice and the strength to just kind of get some basic education or get a basic job. Have you thought of that plan as well?
Yeah, I definitely think like places like, like Pakistan, India, Sri Lanka, like honestly, just how many women that are in countries where they just don't get given those opportunities. I 100% want it for them. But what I don't want for them is, because I also, my competitors are like Upwork and Fiverr, and what ends up happening is these women, they end up getting like underpaid as well and overworked, and I don't want that for them. So I definitely think that you know, that's always the agenda, is like, how do you actually, even if you could get like women that are in Australasia and America, the UK, working with women who are in these like sort of lower socioeconomic countries where they don't get given opportunities, like I think that would be really powerful. And yeah, it's definitely part of the plan. It's one of the reasons I do this, you know, it's to give those women opportunities to get those, you know, chances, because a lot of they might be overlooked, you know, like people wouldn't always. I hadn't worked over 2 years, you know. If I went, I know I applied for jobs, people were like lowballing me because they're like, you don't have the skill set, like that's not the current state, you know, you're not up to date. And I'm like, yeah, but what about soft skills? What about all the other things that I learned whilst being a human being by raising children? It's not just the actual work, right? But people don't always get that, but women do. They actually do. They will give you a chance. I've seen this through the platform. So I definitely want it for women in those countries.
And one more is, sorry, Erika. In your opinion, how helpful is your website to international female students who've just arrived in the base, who are fresh off the board, graduates who are looking for job? And we have this huge problem, right? They have the jobs, but they don't have the experience. And students have this huge problem. How do you think your website will help them get their foot in the door?
I mean, here's the thing, right? Like, you have to use it in a way that you can, because there's so many features in it. You can like promote your work, your portfolio, like all your experiences, right? And like, you can add as much as you want to be then given an opportunity to be seen. Like before, there wasn't really much of an opportunity. At least you're in front of all these other women who then potentially might consider you. And I know that if you are another like Indian woman, you know, sometimes you feel a little bit more inclined to supporting your own people, right? Because you know what it's like. And so I think just even having a place where they can go, it's free. You can go register yourself up. You can set up everything. You can talk about all your credentials. I have a lot of women that do that already. And it's just a matter of them, you know, like as much as like I help a lot of these women too. So if they want to like promote their business, like I'll do it through our Instagram page. Like I'll, you know, drive people to their like Instagram pages and talk about like, we'll do like a profile feature and stuff like that. So they get exposure immediately, exposure that they would have never had, and chances that they would have never had. So yeah, anybody listening, if you definitely are new to the country, or, you know, you're sort of like, I need to make some money and stuff, like you fully should sign up to like gohireher.com, and I'm sure you guys will share the link, but yeah, it's free to use. So I encourage everybody to do it.
So also on that topic, like off the top of your head, can you think of like the industry that the type of jobs have been that are on Hire Her? Like what are the most common types of jobs that people are A, posting, and B, the types of jobs that employers are looking for?
A lot of them are like web design, like graphic work designers. Social media is huge, like massive. And then like virtual assistant, like admin work. Like if you need to bring somebody into your business to like reply emails, do calls, like run the sort of day-to-day stuff, like, and you just don't have time for it because you're too busy building a business. So you've got that. And mainly a lot of admin and marketing, I would say. That's the key part of it. But this world of, being able to, it's like social media is huge. I just think it's just going to get bigger and bigger because every business has to be on social media. Like you don't have a choice if you want to, I guess, have an impact in terms of getting in front of an audience. You have to be where the audience is, and that's where they are.
Yep, that's right. Also, I know recently you were on The Breakfast Show, which, like, actually surprisingly, I was watching it one day and I saw you and I was like, oh, I know her. So I guess, you know, and that's like a very well-known morning TV show in New Zealand, for all our listeners that are not in New Zealand, if you're not sure. So I guess, you know, A, how did you get asked to be on the breakfast TV show? And B, have you had like a influx of people interested in your business after that? Because a lot of people watch that TV show.
Yeah, I was really, honestly, I just think it's because of the concept of what Hire Her is. It's the fact that it's such a beautiful, beautiful concept, and it kind of had this pull. So I literally launched, and then I had like our newspaper, like stuff.co.nz, contact me to do an article, and they wanted to understand like this new world of basically women choosing to work on their own terms. And so I did this article, and then literally a week later, the TV breakfast show producer, they tried to like contact me in various ways and couldn't get through, and like Facebook me, Instagram me, like emailed my husband and everything. And I was with my kids, and they said, hey, look, we're doing this session tomorrow at 6 a.m. And then I was like, well, I need to check in with my family because I've got 2 little kids. I don't know if I can actually go. And they were like, we're going to talk about women and the pandemic and the amount of job losses that have happened, and then what's happening with women now looking at new ways to like work, and how is your platform making an impact of that. And so I just literally went there. I had no time to prep. Like I like had to in the taxi ride, which is like the hour I had to just quickly think about everything. I went there and I just, you know, said to myself, this is an opportunity that maybe many people will not get. So you go there and you give it your ultimate best. Like, even if you are afraid, it doesn't matter. You set it aside and you give it your all. And so, yes, I, you know, gave it my all, and it was great. Like, we had a lot of traffic to the site as well. But it's been really cool. Like, it's not just the breakfast show, like it's been a lot of media outlets and like podcasts and just opportunities that I think wouldn't have existed if the thing I was doing wasn't an important like topic. People care about this. Like, it needs to be done in the world. There should be more people trying to establish businesses like this that are ethical, that are making an impact, that are helping. So I think those are probably the reasons why we've had those exposures.
Yeah, I think especially right now, you know, there's so much focus on like gender equality and women supporting women, you know, like, for example, like I've been part of a conference which was here in Wellington called Women in Leadership, and it's literally a conference that only women attend, but it's all about women empowering women and networking and listening to each other. And like, you know, there's so much of this happening, and it's only going to get more and more, really, as the years go by.
Yeah. But
yeah,
why do you think, like, why do you think?
I think, like, because in the past there's been so much, how do I say it? Like, I think in the past, you know, a lot of women have just tolerated whatever they're given, whether it's lower pay in the workplace or whether it's having to do more of the housework than their husband or to raise the kids. And they've just tolerated it because they've always been told that if you speak up, it's not good. If you speak up, you're too opinionated, you're a rebel.
Yes.
But now there's been this shift, which has really happened in our generation, I guess. There's been this real shift to actually talk back about the things you don't agree with. And it's like, well, it's like a movement, I guess. I don't want to say feminist because I don't think that's the right word, but it's the movement to push women to be more equal to men, and then you have to fight for it. And that's why,
that we have to do that. That what
exactly.
like that it shouldn't be like that, right? It shouldn't. Like, I'll give you an example. Like, you know, I launched this business, and if it was a man that launched this business, it would be a massive deal amongst our like love my family and friends. But that's not the big deal. You know, it's more like, did she cook? Did she clean? Are the kids looked after? I had to build an entire community myself with Hire Her to find women who were like, yes, go you. This is awesome. This is what we need to do. Like, if I was to listen to most of the people around me, and look, you can't blame our community but sometimes we don't know what we don't know, right? Like you sort of are so ingrained in like, okay, she's like the Indian woman, go get married, go have a family, go tick all the boxes, right? But if you go out of ticking those boxes and you like go and walk a different path, it becomes quite like people almost, don't like it. They don't say that they don't like it, but they don't, because you feel it when you don't get the support, when you don't have anyone patting you on the back going, you know what, that's great you did that, because we need more Indian women to do that. We need more brown women. Any woman that's been oppressed should be out there trying to like get out of that and push through it, whether it's like asking for a pay rise, whether it's walking out of a crap relationship, whether it's like not dealing with abuse from like your parents or your in-laws or whatever it is, like whatever that looks like to you, right? But we don't get that when we go and do something that's like not the common thing. Like how often do you get applauded for that? Honestly.
Yep, that's very true. So that leads me to my next question. How do you hope that the website Hire Her will inspire women and people in general?
Yeah, look, I really believe in women living life on their terms. I think, and I also believe an empowered woman is a financially empowered woman. You can't talk about empowerment, you can't talk about freedom without money. You need to be able to have that, to then be able to walk out of scenarios and situations in your life, right? Where you can control it. Because there are so many women out there that they can't walk out of a bad relationship. They can't walk out from their house because they don't have the funds. And to create a platform where women get the opportunity to get jobs and to work with other amazing human beings to like really prosper and grow. And, you can like see what their potential is. Like, I've seen so many women. I had this one woman who, had lost her job and she's a mother to 2 kids. And she was like about to give up on like, working for herself because she was like, oh my God, I'm not finding any work. And then I contacted her and I put her in touch with this amazing person, a woman who runs a business in Australia. And now this lovely lady, she got so much confidence from getting her like this job where it's paying her well. And then within the first 3 months, she got a pay rise, and she didn't even ask for it. But the woman she was working for was like, no, you deserve the pay rise. And that's the thing, like, I see these stories and I see this happening right in front of me. And so I just want more women to like feel like they can do and be anything. And that comes through like literally you kind of have to work for it sometimes, and you need to earn an income for it, because otherwise you can't get yourself out of many scenarios if you don't have the money. That's what it comes down to. I really hope it makes an impact. I hope we give back to nonprofits. I hope we, enable women to feel really empowered. Like, yeah, I don't know. I think you live a really short life. People don't realize it, but we literally like, if you don't go out there and you don't stand for something and you don't want to like, at least make your own little mark in the world, like, what are you living for is my thing. So you should just go out there and bloody do it, because it is so worth it.
Yeah, I think that's very true. And I think the older we get, the more we realize how true that is, because time is short and life is short at the end of the day. So to wrap up, what are your social media handles and the name of your website, so people listening to this podcast can actually go and check it out and register themselves if they want to?
Yeah, absolutely. So website is gohireher.com. So GO and then hireher.com, and the Instagram is @gohireher.
It's awesome. Thank you so much for your time today, Priscilla. It was so lovely chatting to you and just hearing your journey, because, like being an entrepreneur is not easy by any feat. And it's so nice to see, how you're doing with it. To all our listeners out there, as you know, we're a platform where we chat to inspiring South Asian people and people that are going through things that are out of the ordinary but have got an amazing story to share. So if you think that you've got a story that you would like people to hear, then get in touch with us. If you've got any feedback on this podcast or any of our previous podcasts, as always, you can get in contact with us on our YouTube page, which is Coconut Chats, or you can email us at coconutchats@gmail.com, or you can follow us on Facebook or Instagram, and we will always get back in touch with you. So any feedback, good or bad or anything, is always welcome. But until next time, we will see you later, and stay safe and be kind, everyone. Bye, everyone. Bye, Chris. Bye, Priscilla.
Bye.